The return type is non-primitive integer. So integer of B. So here we are converting from primitive into non-primitive int. Is it clear? Then I'll take one more example. Double of B equals 1.5. So here it is a primitive type. The what instruction I have written here, it is of primitive type. I need to convert from primitive to non-primitive because I need to store this element in the collection. So same as that, double is the class, double dot value of D, and the return type will be non-primitive double. So here non-primitive double of E equals, got it everyone? How to convert from primitive to non-primitive? Call the value of method. It is the static method. Call with the help of class name. So we call it as boxing. The process of converting from primitive type into non-primitive type. Then we'll see about auto boxing. Like what is the use of auto boxing and why it came. See, for example, if I want to store A in the collection, it is a primitive A. It is a primitive int. So if I want to store this A in the collection, I need to write these instructions. Yes or no? Because I cannot store primitive value. There I can store only non-primitive value. So I need to write these instructions every time. Every time I need to write this instruction. So it is also one of the disadvantage because the program will contains more instructions, more statements, the code will be more. So due to this disadvantage, they have created an auto boxing. Implicitly conversion of from primitive to non-primitive conversion will take place. We call it as auto boxing. So here directly we can convert from primitive to non-primitive. So first I'll declare int a equals 100. So here it is a primitive int. Then directly declare the non-primitive data type I equals a. So here programmer is not converting from primitive data to non-primitive data. Here compiler is implicitly converting. We call it as auto boxing. Here it is only boxing. For conversion from primitive to non-primitive, we have to write the instructions. We have to call the inbuilt methods. So every time calling these inbuilt methods for storing the elements in the collection is not a good sign. So that's why there is a concept of auto boxing. Here implicitly from primitive to non-primitive conversion take place. So we call it as auto boxing. So I hope there is no doubt in the boxing and auto boxing. So boxing means converting from primitive type to non-primitive type, and the method we use for converting is value of method, and it is a parameterized method. It is present in all the 8 wrapper classes, and it is a static method. We have to call with the help of class name, and it is a parameterized method. Already I have said. So the argument it is accepting is primitive values. It is accepting the primitive values and it will convert from primitive to non-primitive. The return type is non-primitive data, non-primitive value. So that's all about boxing and auto boxing. Then we have to see about unboxing. Unboxing. Yeah. Yeah, guys, give me a minute. I'll be back. Yeah, so here unboxing means it is vice versa of boxing. So here we convert the data from primitive, here we convert the data from primitive type into non-primitive type. Sorry, it is non-primitive to primitive. Yeah, so we call the process as unboxing. So we have seen to convert from primitive to non-primitive. There is no doubt in that. We have to use value of method, and for converting from non-primitive to primitive, we will see is there any suitable methods which are present inside the wrapper class. So we'll check in the integer class only. So now there is one method called, here it is. Yeah. So can you observe here? Int value no argument. So for the conversion from primitive to non-primitive, we have to use value of. Then for the conversion from non-primitive to primitive, we have to use value no argument method. So here returns the value of this integer as a int. So integer means non-primitive integer. Here int means primitive integer. So first it will accept the non-primitive value, non-primitive data, then it will successfully convert from non-primitive to primitive and it will return the value. So that's why the return type is primitive int. So same as this, in all the classes, wrapper classes, this value no argument method is present. So the syntax, it is very easy. First what we have to do, first we have to declare one non-primitive data. So new integer of, and you can observe the constructor here in the integer class. Yeah, so constructors in the integer class. So there are two constructors, the two parameterized constructors only. One constructor is accepting integer value and another constructor is accepting string value. So now what we will do, we will call this constructor integer of int. So now I'll pass 100. Here I am passing int type of data and it is primitive int. So now did you observe there what type of method is that? That value method is a what type of method, whether it is a static method or non-static method. So observe there. Yeah, maybe it is int value. Yeah. So it is a non-static method because they did not mention any static keyword. So it is a non-static method. How to call the non-static method of another class with the help of object reference variable. So here we have created an object for the integer class. So with this we can call the method. So a dot, what is the method name? The method name is int value. So int value, no argument, and it will return the value in the form of primitive int. So store in that. So same as this, for converting from non-primitive double to primitive double, we have a method called double value. Same as that, byte value, char value, short value, long value, float value. So you can observe there. I'll show you the another class, inbuilt class of double. So you observe the constructors now. Yeah. So same constructors what we have seen in the integer class. Here also two types of constructors. One it is accepting double value and another it is accepting string. Then the method is double value. So we can call this method and we can convert from non-primitive to primitive. So I'll write the instruction. So first declare a non-primitive value. So double of d equals new double of, and it is a parameterized constructor. So pass the values. I'll pass 12.5. Then with the help of object reference variable d, you call a double value no argument method and try to pass it or try to store the return value from the double value no argument method in primitive double. So double of, here I will give m, the variable as m. So like this we have to convert from non-primitive type into primitive type. We'll see the program. Yeah. First we'll write the boxing program. So first declare one primitive value. Declare one primitive value, that is primitive type of data. Then you convert that into non-primitive. So what is the method name? That is value of, and it is a static method name. So call with the help of class. So integer dot value of a, pass the primitive value, then try to store that returned value in non-primitive variable. So if you print both A and B, same output only. There is no different in that. Yeah. So here it is a boxing. It is a boxing type of program. Then auto boxing. Auto boxing means implicit conversion. Programmer will not take the responsibility. Compiler will take the responsibility. So declare one primitive int and after that give a non-primitive integer as a class name. So integer of I equals a. So it is an example for auto boxing. So there is no doubt in that converting from primitive to non-primitive. We'll try to do the unboxing now from non-primitive to primitive. So here first I will declare one non-primitive value, that is integer of a equals new integer of, and pass the integer value primitive int. Pass the primitive int. Then with the help of object reference variable, call the int value no argument method. Then try to store the returned value in primitive int. So it is an example for unboxing, converting from non-primitive to primitive. Then after that, like that, I will try to convert from double also. For first declare one double value, double of d equals new double and pass the decimal value. So 1.3 I will pass now. Then create one. So with the help of object reference variable, call the double value no argument method and try to store the returned value in primitive double. So it is an example for unboxing. Yeah, so same example I have written here. Then after that, auto unboxing. So here also same thing, implicit conversion. Here programmer will not write any instructions. Here implicit conversion will happen. So implicitly converting from non-primitive into primitive type, we call it as auto unboxing. Here compiler will do the conversion. Compiler will do the conversion from non-primitive to primitive type. So same as that, first you create one non-primitive value. So integer of 5 equals new integer, then I'll pass 10. Directly you can convert from non-primitive to primitive. So here what we have done, we have called the inbuilt methods, but here directly we are converting from non-primitive to primitive. That's why we call it as auto unboxing. So example here, I'll take byte now. Byte of b equals new byte of some value. Here I have to convert it. Then declare one primitive byte of m equals, directly you pass non-primitive. Yeah, so it is an example for auto unboxing. Here I have created non-primitive type and here I am converting from non-primitive to primitive byte. Yeah, that's all about boxing, auto boxing, unboxing and auto unboxing. Now we can, if we are perfect in this concept, boxing, auto boxing, then unboxing and auto unboxing, then we can move for the collections. So yesterday we have discussed the disadvantages of the array. What are the disadvantages of the array? I think I have written the points here. No. Yeah, so what are the disadvantages of an array? First you have to understand disadvantage of array, then collections will be more easy. So in the array, whenever we have to create or we have to define the array, size is mandatory. So size is fixed. Then we cannot increase or decrease size, and in array it will accept only homogeneous elements. Then memory wastage is more. In array memory wastage is more. Then sorting, like for example, if you want to sort, we have to write instructions or we have to call inbuilt methods. So example we will see for the what I have written all the points for the disadvantages of an array. We'll see one example. So array size is fixed. For declaring an array, it is mandatory. Then once the array is declared, we cannot increase or decrease the size. And inside an array, we can store only same type of elements, only single types of elements. That's why we call it as we can store only homogeneous elements. And there is a wastage of memory. We'll see an example now. We'll come to the conclusion. Then in an array, if we are storing the elements in the same order, it will be stored. It will not be stored in the form of sorted manner, like whether in the form of ascending or descending. Yeah, we'll see an example now. I will declare one integer array of a equals new int of 5. Then here I will store in the first index, sorry, 0th index 10. Then can I store here a double? Inside this array, can I store a double? No, because I have declared the data type as integer. So we can store only integer types of data. I cannot store string here. You'll get error. So we can store only homogeneous types of elements in an array. We cannot store heterogeneous types of elements. It is a disadvantage of an array. And now if I want to store from 10 to 100, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, can I store in this array? Can I store in this array? No, it is not possible because the size I have declared it as only 5. But now we have the requirements more than 5. So what I have to do? At this time, a of 3 equals 40. Then a of 4 equals 50. Now I need to store 60 also. 70 also. So can I store like this? Here we are not getting any compile time error. But during the runtime, you will get the exception. Array index out of bounds exception in 15th and 16th line. Because it has the maximum index of 4 only. But I am trying to store the value in the 5th and 6th index. It is not present. So once the array size is declared, we cannot increase or decrease. If I want to store more elements, I have to declare another array. So it is the disadvantage of an array. Then now I have created an array of size 5, but in the array of size 5, I will not store 2 blocks of memories. So now what I am storing in the 0th index and 3rd index and 4th index, I am storing the value. Then what about 1st index and 2nd index? Whether I am storing any value? No, but the place is there, right? The place is there to store the value or to store the data, but I am not storing that. So here wastage of memory is there. Here wastage of memory is there. So when 5 blocks will be created, but here I am storing 10, 40, 50. Here all the default values will be stored in the first index and the second index. So here we are wasting the memory because we are not storing any value, only default value is stored. Can I delete this now? Because I am not storing any value. Can I delete this? No, it's not possible. So it is the disadvantage of an array. If we are not storing any element inside the array, it is wastage of memory. So it is also one of the disadvantage. And if I print these values, so I'll try to print the values now. Now I'll try to print the values. So whether the output will be in the sorted manner, right? Now I'll give here. Yeah, guys, 1 minute. Yeah. So here I will insert 5, then a of 1 equals 3, 1. So if I print these elements, what is the output? In what way I have inserted the elements 5, 3, 4, 1, 50 in same order I am getting. There is no difference in that. And you can observe it is not in ascending order also and descending order also. But on what way we have inserted, insertion order is maintained. So if I want to sort these elements, what I have to do? If I want to sort these values in an array, so I have to call any inbuilt methods. I have to call any inbuilt methods. So now you observe the output. Now it is in sorted manner. So if I want to sort the array elements, I have to call the inbuilt methods, or I have to write the sorting techniques, bubble sort, selection sort and all. So it is also one of the disadvantage of an array. So size is fixed, size not increased or decreased, heterogeneous elements cannot be stored. Only homogeneous elements can be stored. We cannot store heterogeneous elements, means different types of elements. Then memory wastage we have seen, and for sorting we have to call inbuilt methods or some instructions we are some sorting techniques we have to use. So to overcome these we are having collections. So the advantage of collection framework is here size is not fixed, size is growable. Size is growable and heterogeneous elements are allowed. Or allowed. Then no wastage of memory. No wastage of memory, and some classes will follow sorting manner. Not all the classes which are present in the collection framework, only in that some classes will follow sorting manner. But in the array, we have to call the inbuilt methods. But in the collection framework, if you want to sort any elements, we can go that classes which follows the sorting manner. So before that, we will see the collection hierarchy. So in the collection hierarchy, the First, yeah. So first we'll understand about the collection framework. What is collection and what is framework? So here, collection means what? What do you mean by collections? In array, what we will store? What for the definition of an array? What can you tell? For the definition of an array, we can tell storing different value or data in a single variable. In a single variable, we are storing the different values or different data, or else we can call it as multiple data also. Multiple data in single variable. That's why we have gone for arrays. We have seen the disadvantage. Now we are learning collection. So collection means what? Here we have seen that. So in the what is the use of wrapper classes? So it will convert from primitive to non-primitive. So in the collections we can store the elements only in the form of objects. Only in the form of objects. Can I store only single object in the collection? No. Collection means like bunch of things. Yes or no? Collection means bunch of things or bunch of items. So here also in the collection we can store multiple objects, multiple non-primitive values, multiple non-primitive data. So here for the definition of collection we can tell like that, yeah, it is a process of storing multiple objects in a single entity. In a single entity. In the array, what will happen? In an array, what will happen? Block of memory will be created. Inside that block of memory, we will store the elements. So for example, here I will try to store 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, 0. Here I am storing all the primitives. But in the collection I will store in the form of objects, that is non-primitives. Collection means storing multiple objects in a single entity. Storing multiple objects in a single entity, we call it as collection. Then what do you mean by framework? Framework. So collection means storing multiple objects. Where you will store? Where you will store the multiple objects? There should be some memory, right, for storing the multiple objects. Who will provide the memory? Who will give the memory? So framework. Framework, it provides several classes and interfaces. It provides several classes and interfaces. There we can store the multiple objects. So by combining both collection and framework, we can tell the definition like this. So collection means storing multiple objects. Framework, it provides classes and interfaces. So here collection framework means it provides several classes and interfaces for storing group of multiple objects in a single entity. So it is the definition of collection framework. It provides several classes and interfaces for storing group of multiple objects in a single entity. Is it clear for everyone about the collection framework? If you are getting doubt in the collection framework, first you can divide like this: collection and framework. Collection means storing group of multiple objects, where you will store in the framework, because framework provides classes and interfaces for storing multiple objects. So now we have to see the collection hierarchy. So collection hierarchy means classes and interfaces. So first we have iterable. First we have iterable. Then after the collection, so under the collection interface, we have list, queue, and set interfaces. So here list, here queue, then another one is set. So under the list interface, we have array list, array list, linked list, and vector. Yeah. Then array list, linked list, and vector. Then in the set we have as set and preset. Yeah, here as set and here preset. So don't focus on the queue, because these are the legacy classes. Few are the legacy classes and interfaces. Nowadays we are not using in the projects. So main you have to focus on list and set. In the interviews they will ask main thing, the difference between list and set. So here iterable is a interface. Iterable is interface. Collection is also interface. List is interface. These are all classes. These are all the classes. Here also set is a interface. asset and tree set are the classes. Q is also interface. So under the iterable interface, we have collection interface, and under the collection interface, we have list, queue interface, and set interface. And what are all the implementing classes of list interface means array list, linked list, and vector. Here vector is also legacy class. Vector is also legacy class, and under the set interface, the implementing classes are asset and preset. So take a snap of this. Now here you have to understand the upcasting process. Here we have to use every time upcasting process, because sometimes we need to convert from list into set. That's why here we have to use upcasting process. So can I create an object for array list and store that in collection type? Yeah, there is no problem for that, because they are having a relationship, parent and child relationship. So collection is the parent interface, array list is a child class. So I can create an object for the array list, and I can store that address inside the collection type, iterable type, list type, but I cannot store the address in set to type, because they don't have any relationship. They don't have any parent and child relationship. So here we need to understand the different characteristics of the different implementing classes. All the implementing classes, array list, linked list, vector, asset, and tree set, they are having the different characteristics. So here we are first, if I want to store an element or an object in the list, I cannot create an object, because list is a interface. So I can store in these array list, linked list, and vector. First I have to create an object for these classes, and we are having some methods. I'll show the methods which are used for adding, removing, searching, retrieving, and iterating the elements in the array list, or let it be any classes, let it be any implementing classes. All methods are common. So first we will open the array list class. Array list class in the Java. So you observe the array list class. It is present in java.util package. Then you can see the constructors. Yeah, so it is having three constructors: array list no argument, array list of collection, it is accepting the collection type, and array list of integer. And remember this, what is the, in the interviews they will ask the initial capacity of the array list. So the initial capacity of array list is 10. Make a note of that. Then you observe the methods. What are all the methods and which are all the suitable methods? So here there is a method called add. This method will add an element into an array list. And here add of int, index, and element. So for adding an element into an array list, we are having four methods: add, and add all of collection, and add all of int comma collection. So we'll see one by now. First, you create an object for the array list. A1 equals new array list, no argument. Now it is present in the java.util package. Import that. Yeah, so we have imported. Now you call the method add for inserting or for in storing or for adding the element into the array list. So observe here, a1 dot add of and pass the values. So here I am passing 100. Here I am passing 100. So I have passed a primitive value or non-primitive value here. 100 is a primitive value or non-primitive value. 100 is a primitive value. So here auto boxing will take place. 100 from primitive to non-primitive it will be converted and it will be stored. And I will add another one element, add of 200. And you can observe here I can add character also, any type of data. And I will add string, double, and I will add null value also. Then again null. Yeah, so you can see there I have added all types of elements because in the collections we can store heterogeneous types of elements. In the array list or collections we can store different types of elements. So there is no problem in that. But how to iterate the elements? How to iterate an array list elements or collection elements? For example, for iterating an array elements, what we have to do, we have to use a for loop. For iterating an array list or collections, we are having some methods also. Or else you can observe here in the array list class, which is the suitable method. So many are there, but you can observe here in the array list all the object class methods are implemented. All the object class methods are implemented because now a1 is a object reference variable. Inside the a1 I am storing the address or the data. I am storing the address in the object. Sorry, in the heap area one object will be created. That address I am storing inside the a1. But if I print the a1, I will not get the address. I will get the states. I will get the data which are present inside an object, that is array list object. So you observe the output there. Now I am not getting the address, I am getting the data, that is states of an object. So from this we can determine that inside an array list toString method is overridden because the object class toString method, what it will do, it will give only the address of the object. But if we override the toString method, it will give the states, the data which are present inside the object. By this we can determine toString method is overridden inside the array list. In all the classes, toString method is overridden. That's why we are getting the states of the object. For adding the elements, there is a add method and there is one more method there in an array list, add of int index and element. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, where is the class? Array list. Yeah. So here we have inserted the elements, but we don't know in which index we have inserted the elements, because array list. Yeah, I'll write the characteristics of array list now. So it is the implementing class for list interface. Then array list follows array data structure. Array list follows array data structure. Then with the help of index, we can add and add, remove and get the element. Or else we can tell access the elements. So it follows an array data structure. In the array, we have a concept of index. In the array list also, there is a concept of index. So here, I can mention the index also, and I can add the element. Then, so I observe this method clear. It removes, what it will do, it will delete all the elements from the array list. And get method, what it will do, it will accept the index value and it will return the corresponding index value element. And contains method, what it will do, it will check whether the element is present inside the array list or not. For example, see there, the what is the argument it is accepting? It is accepting the object type, yes or no? So what it will do, it will accept the argument and it will search inside an array list whether the element is present or not. If the element is present, it will return true. If the element is not present, it will return false. Then here, see, you can observe here index of object O. So it will accept the element and it will give the corresponding index value. It will returns the index. Then is empty method, is empty no argument method. It will check whether the array list empty is empty or not. Whether we have stored any element or not, this method is empty method will check. And iterator no method. So don't worry about the iterator method. We will discuss on Monday, because there are different types for iterating the collections: for loop, advanced for loop, iterator method, then list iterator method. So we'll see it on Monday, but you observe the methods, important methods. For removing the elements from the array list, we have remove of index, that is int index, remove of object O, remove all of collections. So what you do today you observe all the inbuilt classes, array list, observe all the methods. So here we have seen the array list class and all the inbuilt methods. Then in the Google search, type linked list also, linked list class. So you see, sorry, see whether is there any common methods or not from the array list. So add, same all the methods which are present in the array list, it is present in the linked list, asset, traceset. So consider it as an assignment also. Now we will end the class. After this, you go and research on the all the implementing classes of collections, that is array list, linked list, and asset and traceset. So what are all the methods for removing, then adding, searching, iterating, getting the elements? So you do the research on that and we'll continue the class on Monday. Yeah, that's all for today. You can leave now. We'll continue the remaining part of the collections on Monday.